Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by Galadon Gaming. We're talking about changing the meta. And what I mean is, there was recently a group of players that got together and formed a pop-up clan, called the clan Change the Meta, and proceeded, at least one of them anyway, to get to #1 globally in trophies, and actually several of them were near the top with this exact same deck. Now, the replays come from players in different clans. A lot of these guys are Nova members, but in any case, they got together and just dominated for a few days using this very unusual deck. And the freeze spell, one of the key cards to this deck, but really the win condition card you've got to see right there. It's the balloon. I mean, the balloon can definitely surprise an opponent, and the freeze has been nerfed and re-nerfed to the point that you don't see it that often, especially in the current meta. And so I feel like the freeze spell is catching other players off guard. It is a great offensive and defensive tool. Here, most of these guys are using it primarily as offensive, freezing the opponent's defenses while the balloon gets to the tower. Now, as we try to break down each individual card, of course, the Dark Prince is a very versatile splash damage type card. Great on defense, great for defending against guards, which have seen an uptick in popularity, and of course barbarians or any sort of group of ground troops. Right here, this Spear Goblin's another underrated card. I feel like this deck is full of underrated cards that maybe have slipped by just a bit, that used to be really popular and now don't have a great deal of popularity any longer. Now, the primary push for a tower from this deck is a 3-card combination, usually either Dark Prince, Ice Spirit Balloon, or Mini P.E.K.K.A. Ice Spirit Balloon. Doing a great job of getting in there, difficult to counter, oftentimes leaving opponents unprepared. And here you can see the cannon, ever so versatile. I still do love the cannon myself. It's great for distracting those giants, royal giants, hog riders, balloons. And ideally, you've got a Mini P.E.K.K.A. in there to chop down whatever it is that was after your tower. A quick way to effectively counter a royal giant. Now, down the right lane, Wang Zi is bringing the Dark Prince and the balloon once again. And this opponent finds himself frozen. No way to stop the balloon's assault. And check it out, a well-placed, well-timed freeze spell. And suddenly, this opponent finds himself down 2 crowns to 0 with less than 25 seconds left in this battle. It is all over but the crying emote. And again, the cannon goes down along with the Mini P.E.K.K.A. That gets the giant out of the way. The Dark Prince in there to take care of the guards. And another level 13 player near the top of the leaderboards finds his hands tied, frustratingly so, cannot stop it. And a big 2-0 win for this Change the Meta deck. So let's go ahead and move on to another replay. This is, again, another member of Change the Meta. This time he was actually in the clan Change the Meta, Mr. Wang Zi, at the bottom of your screen. And again, starting off the beginning of the battle with the 3-card assault on the tower, the Dark Prince timed with the balloon, and here comes the Ice Spirit. And you've got that Musketeer, but check it out, between the Ice Spirit, the balloon, and the Prince, the Musketeer goes down, the balloon on top of the tower, and the tower is helpless. There's no counter. This opponent, Mr. Y, committed so much elixir with that bowler down the left lane that we're 40 seconds in this battle, and there's already a tower down. And I have to tell you, that is demoralizing no matter how you look at it, to lose a tower so quickly, and especially after having done so little damage to your opponent's tower. It is not an easy hole to climb yourself out of. And here comes Mr. Wang Zi, not letting up. Another Dark Prince. You can see the balloon is queued up. There goes the balloon, both of them on their way to the tower. This time it is the freeze spell before the Ice Spirit. The opponent, having dropped another bowler, finds himself elixir starved, does manage to pull the balloon off temporarily with the elixir collector, but the balloon is back on target and things don't look good. The tower down to under 1,000 hit points, and the bowler, he only gets 1 boulder off on that tower, and quickly this battle isn't looking good. Less than 90 seconds left, and another big advantage for a member of the Change the Meta clan. And yet again, rinse and repeat, we see the Dark Prince on its way from the back. This time another balloon and spear goblins find their way after that tower. The poison spell trying to mitigate the damage from that balloon, but once again the balloon finds its target. Just one bomb dropped and the tower is down, and another 2-0 lead. The free spell this time on defense, just like we were talking about, beautifully grabs the mini P.E.K.K.A. and the giant. They fall harmlessly to the cannon, and now less than 45 seconds left. It doesn't look good once again. Mr. Wang Zi's towers are so healthy, and despite this big push coming from the opposing side, he's got plenty of time to pull these guys off target. Look at the giant go all the way across to the other lane as the freeze spell stops everybody else. The mini P.E.K.K.A. chops down unit after unit, and in the final 20 seconds, this opponent can really only throw his hands up. There is no way he could possibly come back from this huge of a deficit, and this very unusual change the meta deck is just about to claim another victim on these players' way to the top of the trophy leaderboards with a deck that I personally have never seen before. But the moral of the story here is it's not just the cards, but the skill level of the player that is holding them. All right, let's move on to another replay. This time it's Warlock. Now, Warlock himself recently posted a very detailed breakdown of this strategy on Reddit. If you guys want to go check that out, it is a very helpful description of this deck and his use of it. Now, the credit to the creator of this deck goes to a fellow clan member in their Change the Meta clan named Jaker8. He was the one that devised this devious combination. Warlock just posting the information and the strategic breakdown on Reddit. And again, check it out, the balloon has gotten to the tower in the very beginning of this battle. And that is really what we're seeing a lot of with this deck. It's an early, hard-pushing offensive deck where if you can, take down a tower right at the start of the battle, and then you can shift on to defense because this deck is very versatile at defending, and just sit back and hold off your opponent for the next 2 to 2.5 minutes. And that is exactly what these guys said they did time and time again. Check out the zap spell right there. Now, he zapped 2 elixir collectors at once, and that cost his opponent 2 elixir out of those collectors. The zap spell, one of the most underrated cards, but it is extremely popular nonetheless. It is one of my favorite cards in the game right now, and I love to see innovative uses of the zap spell like that one there from Warlock. So right here you've got a big counter push coming from Saddam. Lots of units moving across the river there, but between the cannon, the ice spirit, the zap spell, once again, everything is cleared out, and check it out. The tower does not suffer a solitary hit point in damage. Warlock able to stop that entire push. The poison spell of his opponent was just out of range of the tower, and now Warlock's opponent finds himself with only about a minute remaining to try to take an entire tower down that has not yet been damaged at all. A difficult situation made worse by the fact that your opponent doesn't need to put together a counter push. He is only interested in stopping your push, and you've got a Dark Prince, mini P.E.K.K.A., cannon, ice spirit in the way. And right here, check this out. The freeze spell lets that mini P.E.K.K.A. get in there, work on the giant, and it also serves to bunch all of these units up. And as they bunch up, here comes another Dark Prince, another cannon, that splash damage from the Dark Prince. There is another freeze spell rotating all the way back around again to the freeze. No chance of this player getting to the tower. Multiple cannons in the way, even the spear goblins doing a great job. And again, the units don't manage a strike on that tower. The last 10 seconds and another push easily countered. The cannon is up. Lots of units coming through, but this time not enough time. The last 4 seconds run out, and Warlock with a solid 1-0 crown win where neither one of his towers was ever threatened whatsoever. All right, let's move on to another replay. Another member of Change the Meta. This time it is Weed, who came over from Nova, Canada, up against I Am Bren Chong from the clan Alpha. And right here, you might notice the balloon was not in the starting hand, nor was it on deck, so Weed couldn't use that tactic in the beginning. He's going to have to wait, try to put it together a little bit later on. You can see his opponent already with the Inferno Tower, the preemptive Inferno Tower down before the Mini P.E.K.K.A got anywhere near the opposite side. So Weed, having to adjust his strategy, goes down the right-hand lane, Balloon, Dark Prince, Ice Spirit, but countered effectively with the Valkyrie with a poison spell, and even the Inferno gets in on the action at the tail end, and that tower still healthy as the Valkyrie moves forward. About a minute down now, and although Weed hasn't gotten a lot of damage off of his opponent's towers, you will notice that he has forced his opponent back on the defense for the entire battle so far. The opponent hasn't been able to put together any sort of push or counter push, perhaps waiting for an opportunity that may or may not come in the next minute 48. So here it comes once again, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Balloon, and the Ice Spirit on their way towards that tower. The Inferno Tower does get down. It is within range, grabs the Mini P.E.K.K.A, but the Balloon this time will get to the tower. The freeze spell, and the Inferno Tower falls. A beautifully timed freeze spell allows that Balloon to get in just as the Inferno gets out of the way, and there goes the tower momentarily with 1 hit point left. Much like we saw in the earlier battles, it's simply one big push that takes that tower down. It's not maybe what players are used to seeing, the chip damage of the arrows, the zap, the poison spell, maybe a unit getting one shot on a tower. This is a massive push. This is all brute force getting in there and taking these towers down. And once again, Weed just needs to hold his opponent off for 60 seconds and claim the victory. But you might have guessed, just like we saw earlier, these guys not always happy with just one crown. I don't know, maybe they're trying to fill up crown chests. But here we go again, Dark Prince, Ice Spirit, Balloon down the left-hand lane, and so many of these decks are ill-equipped to battle this, and another tower goes down because of that well-placed freeze spell. Weed just trolling his opponent a little bit there, dropping the thanks, final 30 seconds, and you can tell his opponent is gone. Somebody has left the building. Weed walking away with a 3-0 win. So are these guys single-handedly changing the meta in the game? Well, they definitely shook things up at the top of the leaderboards. Do you have an unusual deck or strategy that you would like to share with others? Let me know down below in the comments. Perhaps I can put it in a future video. Thank you guys, as always, for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for daily Clash content, and I hope to see every last one of you back here again tomorrow for more full attacks.
Golly Dog, remember what Linkin Park said? In the end, it doesn't even matter.